In 2018, the Fremantle Dockers had a season that could only be described as a rollercoaster. Initially, there was a sense of optimism on the back of impressive JLT form, as well as the excitement from unearthing some elite midfield talent from the previous year's national draft. Having secured 3 wins from their first 5 matches of the season, and then a commendable effort in the derby against the eventual premiers, there was a genuine sense of belief that Fremantle were making decent inroads into their list rebuild. The Dockers then dropped 3 of the next 4 games, including a brutal drubbing at the hands of the Tigers, and Ross Lyon declared the club was going to double down on its youthful selection policy. To such an extent that the side Fremantle fielded in round 11 against the Magpies was the club's youngest 22 in 8 years. Then, injuries struck to key players, and Fremantle's season went into freefall with several big losses, none bigger than their 133-point loss over in Geelong in round 22. They finished the season in 14th spot with 8 wins, the same amount as the previous season with virtually no improvement in percentage. So why are we optimistic about Fremantle going forward? As we touched on before, Fremantle's aggressive youth policy allowed them to get 94 games into their 8 debutants for the year, by far the most of any club. In particular, Andrew Brayshaw and Adam Cerra, both top 5 picks the previous year, played 38 games between them. While Fremantle may not have improved in 2018 with respect to wins and losses, the ability to expose and develop a raft of young talent whilst managing to avoid the bottom 4 could be described as a win in itself. The defensive end of the ground for Fremantle is also starting to take shape. Finally injury-free for the first time in years, Alex Pearce doubled his career games tally and announced himself as one of the better key defenders in the league. Former Giant Nathan Wilson also had a very strong first season for the Dockers, providing the skill and dash that the defensive unit had previously lacked. When you factor in the fact that the strong marking Luke Ryan also had a breakout season for the club in 2018, it is clear that the Fremantle backline has become increasingly settled in recent years. At the other end of the ground, Fremantle have nullified a glaring weakness on the back of some very shrewd trading during the recent off-season. In 2018, Fremantle ranked bottom 3 for overall scoring for the 3rd successive year. With the forward line recruits of Cam McCarthy, Shane Kirsten and Brandon Matera all battling to make an impact, it was evident further trades were necessary. Enter Jesse Hogan and Rory Lobb. The Dockers finally landed their man Hogan on the back of the Lachie Neale trade request, and Fremantle finally have a goal-scoring key forward who is about to enter his peak at age 24. Lobb comes in as a secondary key forward target, as well as a future long-term secondary ruck to Sean Darcy. It is unclear what will happen to the likes of Taberner, Kirsten and McCarthy. Of those 3, McCarthy seems the most likely to succeed as a third tall forward. Fremantle's midfield, despite previously being an area of relative strength, is now the part of the ground requiring the most immediate attention. Lachie Neale's departure to Brisbane means the Dockers now lack midfielders in the peak age bracket of their career. With Fife, Brad Hill, Stephen Hill, Sandilands and Sean Darcy all playing less than 15 games in 2018, Fremantle were able to get plenty of games into youngsters like Brayshaw, Cerra, Croden and Banfield. However, Fremantle are probably 1 or 2 midfielders short in the age bracket of 23 to 27 as it currently stands. Ed Langdon and Connor Blakely have developed into very promising and consistent players, and at 22 years old may be able to, in time, fill the Neale void. In summary, it is evident to me that the talent on Fremantle's list has belied their form to date, and is perhaps underrated by followers of the game across the country. Their first challenge in 2019 will be to bridge the gap between their best form and their worst. Part of this will come down to better injury luck, but there has to be a psychological element to it too. In the first derby of 2018, the Dockers were hot on the heels of an Eagles side that was playing good football, and looked every bit a finals contender. Fast forward to round 22, and the Dockers conceded 23 consecutive goals to a side that barely made the finals. A lot has been speculated about Ross Lyon throughout 2018. Putting aside talk of harassment claims for one moment, the most important thing is whether he has the players still engaged. There's been innuendo regarding his tough and abrasive man management style, and when developing a young playing group, this style can obviously pose risks. Either way, it is fast approaching a time where Lyon's coaching position rests on winning more games of football. In 2019, I believe there is plenty of room for optimism for Fremantle fans. The defence is settled and reliable. Their forward line finally has a structure and undeniable talent. While their midfield has been weakened, Nat Fyfe remains an incredible player, and a full season from him should, in my opinion, help drive Fremantle closer to the lower regions of the top 8. Thank you for watching this analysis video. Comment below where you think Fremantle might finish during the 2019 season. For more AFL content like this, make sure you hit subscribe. Thanks.